In today's show, we speak to the head of women's football at the West Coast Eagles, Michelle Cowan, and we wrap up the Fremantle Dockers season. This AFLW episode is brought to you by Woodside Energy, a proud major partner of the Fremantle Dockers, supporting local footy from grassroots to greatness. Welcome to the West Sports Show. I am joined by Craig O'Donoghue. How are you, Craig?
Very good, Quarters, and we've got a big guest here today for a very big show.
We do. The head of women's football at the West Coast Eagles, Michelle Cowan. How are you, Michelle?
I'm very well. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Now, I've just got to start with what a wacky weekend you've just had. What was going through your head?
Yeah, it was a bit whirlwind. Obviously, Friday night, post the game, we were quite measured, actually. I certainly presented to the group that we're not out. There's a couple of options. We'll be in for training on Monday. There's every chance that could happen, or otherwise we'll be in doing some reviews and just give them a bit of an idea of what both scenarios kind of look like. But and then it was just riding that wave of Essendon and the Sydney game, and I think when the weather came through, I thought that was going to really work in our favour, and it certainly did. And Essendon, I thought they played really, really well and great contested team, but nice of them to finish their season with some success.
And all you had to hope for was no draw with Fremantle and Adelaide at Norwood Oval. And, of course, late in the game, it looked as though it could happen.
Yeah, I was playing cricket at the time, actually. I was out in the middle having a bat, and I was fortunate enough my husband was watching, so every time I'd glance over after every ball over my shoulder just to see if he had any indication that the Crows had scored or Fremantle had scored, and just wanted to make sure it was a 3-point margin, if anything. But yeah, it didn't matter really who won that game. We just didn't want that draw, and that was another wave to ride. And then when that happened, I think I got out actually not long after I found out they won. So I got out, and then I went. And my phone blew up, and obviously the AFL fixturing were on the phone and letting us know when our game was, and looking forward to that, Icon Park.
What'd you make?
12, and of all the people, Taylor Breslin, who used to play for us at West Coast Eagles, she caught me out, so a bit of revenge.
So before I go to Craig, how do you turn this around against Carlton?
Yeah, we've had a bit of a review on Monday, and, we thought we did a lot of things right in that game. We're really happy with where we're at, and obviously in the fourth quarter, things started to slip away from us, and Carlton, I guess, covered the ground a lot better than we did, and they just showed a little bit more polish, and I think the fixes are really easy for us, so we just get to work. We got to work on Monday, bit of a recovery day today for our players and staff, hopefully, and then also Wednesday, main training for us, and just get to work on a few fundamental things that we think we can easily fix, and then it's just about embracing what's ahead of us and finals footy, which is exciting, and we put ourselves in a great position, and as they say, there's a bit of pressure, but pressure is privilege.
This is more than just a team moment. This is a club moment because it's your first game in a final for the women's program, but it's also the men haven't won a final since 2019. The Waffle haven't made the finals either. So for the entire club and all your 100,000 members, this game really, really matters more than just a normal final. The occasion itself, talk us through what it means to make it for the first time.
Yeah, it's been really special. I think being part of the footy club since the inaugural team back in 2020, and even, earlier than that, just working with some of their academies and some incredible people that helped build the program right from the get-go, and Adam Selwood and Jan Cooper and Luke Dwyer and Richard O'Connell, so many people that helped build this program to what it is today. And games are hard to win in AFL, AFLW, and making finals footy is really difficult, and it took us our 7th season in order to get there, and it's important that you smell the roses along the way. I think we got a lot of things right, and we got a lot of things that we needed to improve along those 7 years, and not once did we ever stop evaluating our program and looking how we can be better, and whether that be our list, our staff, our people, our program, our whole of club. And to get this reward right now for a lot of people is really, really special.
What has Daisy brought to this group, Daisy Pearce?
Yeah, so much. She's got this incredible I guess, playing career herself, which the players just all admired and aspired to play like her and be like her. But she has this ability to build relationships and connect with people that enables her to get the best out of people, whether that be staff and whether that be players. And you can see every time she speaks, they eat out of the palm of her hand and hanging on every single word. And she's just a fantastic, knowledgeable coach, and she'll go a long way with her coaching career.
What did she change, and what's changed in the program across the past 2 years? The numbers are obvious. Like defensively, you've gone from averaging 53 points a game against the 35, and you're kicking from 27 points 2 years ago to 39 now. So those numbers are good, but they're the result of the work that's done. So what did you change to make this happen?
The competition's changed a lot as well. So we see that this year our players, through their CBA, they're contracted to complete 22 hours a week at the footy club. Back in the day, in season 1 and 2, that was 10 hours. Next year, it's going to be 25 hours. So the game continues to grow and evolve, and with that extra hours at time we get to put in, we're working on our fundamentals, we're working on our strength and conditioning. And certainly come February this year, we really doubled down on our fundamentals and our strength and conditioning side of the game, and we wanted to make sure we were one of the strongest and fittest teams in the competition, but our ball use was cleaner as well. And I know that was going to help the broadcast and get people to games as well, and it was going to make for really exciting games. But we've worked really hard in resourcing our program with the right people, and then that focus on fundamentals and strength and conditioning was key for us in that February, March, April, May period.
Perception is reality in some ways, and sometimes it isn't. But the perception was that it wasn't taken seriously enough by the club at the start, and then it became, oh, no, we need to get behind this. Has getting behind it changed, or is that just us looking at it in a different way because you're being successful?
The club had an incredible bid to get a women's team. Obviously, they were unsuccessful, and Fremantle came in first, which I'm very grateful for as well. But a very strong bid and want to have a women's team. There's been building blocks every single year as to the growth of the resourcing of the program and the direction that we're heading in. Nizzy, incredibly invested in our program. Now Don, incredibly invested in our program, and that flows right through the entire footy club. And we've got John Worsford now as head of football, and he's been fantastic for Daisy and myself to bounce off wealth of experience coaching and management, and it's been really good working with him.
I know you've focused fully on Carlton this week, but how do you catch North Melbourne?
Yeah, they're a great side. They're certainly at the pinnacle for AFLW. They're fit, they're strong, their fundamentals are great, and that's who we focused on when we saw who's at the best, at the top of the game in the competition. It was them, and we had a look at our stats versus their stats and how we match up, and it's been really good. We've bridged that with our KPIs that we set for ourselves, whether that be inside 50s, our time in forward half this year. We're number 1 for contested marks in the competition. That was something that we really focused on through the fundamentals period in taking contested marks in this competition can go a long way. So that's been really pleasing to see as well.
I bet you Jess Wrench was the most excited player there on the Sunday afternoon watching the game.
And that or Daisy.
Daisy, yeah, of course.
Is a big fan of Wrenchy, but so good that Wrenchy gets another opportunity to play. She's so important for us. Very versatile player as well, can play across the whole ground. But I've never seen a player that has second, third, fourth and fifth efforts the way that she does, and how explosive she is with those efforts. It's outstanding. And for those maybe that haven't seen her, tune in this weekend because she's going to be pretty special.
Someone who is damn special as Ella Roberts, like getting a transformative player in a competition is so hard to do, and she is someone that everyone just should be watching playing, because when she gets the footy, things happen and you just go, wow, who is this? How is she able to do the stuff she does? Talk us through how she's become who she is and what she means to this group in terms of lifting them to another level, because when she didn't play the other week, it was really obvious.
Yeah, she's remarkable. And I think what why she is remarkable is she's a competitive beast, and she just loves winning, and she loves being at the top of her game and being the best that she can be. So when there's an opportunity to get better or to hone in on her craft or to watch a little bit of extra vision or do some recovery, she's an absolute pro. And for somebody that's so young, she's one of the most exciting players I've ever seen play the game. And you're right, she changes games. For us, she's certainly somebody that you love having on your team, and I think she'll go very close to winning the best and fairest for the entire league, and I can probably see her being close to winning quite a few of those in her time.
She's tough too, Michelle.
She's tough. Yeah, she again just bounces up, that lays that tackle, lunges for that second tackle as well. But when she can evade her opponent and take ground and carry the ball forward for us, she really breaks the game open. She's electric. That's how I would describe her. She's absolutely electric.
You'd be happy with your choice of co-captains this year too, who really led the team well?
Yeah, that transition's been really, really good for our program and our club, and it's fantastic still to have Swanee around, and they lean into her a fair bit and get her advice. And, for Swanee, who's got a young baby now, Joey, at home, and she's been able to make that her priority, as it should be, but still help lead us in the way that she does when she performs on field as well. And the support of Dana Hooker, that experience as well that Charlie and Bella get to lean into. And then not only a captain in her own right, or a premiership captain in your own right, in their own coach in Daisy Pearce to bounce things off her, but yeah, the way that they've taken on this captaincy is a credit to them. They're remarkable people. They're competitive beasts. They want our footy club to be playing finals football, and both of them are just an integral part to that.
Training venues are an issue for all the West Australian teams when they head into state. You've played 2 games at Icon Park in 4 years, and you're heading out there. So there is a game at Icon Park on the Friday, which would be your captain's run. Are you allowed to have a look at Icon and train there on the Friday, or are you having to find a suburban venue to run around on, like what often happens with the men's teams?
Yeah, look, initially we got knocked back for our captain's run to be at Icon Park, and then we just said, look, we can be really flexible with this. We really want to be on Icon Park, whether it's a 40-minute window or a 45-minute, whatever it could be. We'll be off the bus and onto Icon Park and then back on the bus pretty quickly. So they've been lucky enough to open the doors for us. Unfortunately, it'll be a closed training session just due to the logistics of Icon Park having that game on that night. But, we got told no, and then we went back again and we got the nod and the approval, so happy with that.
Michelle, did you address there was a couple of, I'll call them undisciplined acts in the final quarter of last week's game that really cost you? I mean, I think you hit the front early in that last quarter, but did you address that post-game?
Oh, there's just some education there for some of the players, and I think there might have been one with just handing the ball back and giving a 50. So a bit of education there. Nobody's got in trouble or anything like that. We just hope we learn from it and we don't take it into this weekend's game.
One more on Icon. Like, so if you're getting to have that training session, we know 3-hour time difference is challenging at this time of year. Like, how early are you going to be out there in terms of Melbourne time? And then we'll convert it back to Perth time. Like, you're not at a 6 a.m. Perth time training session, is it?
No. We looked at that. I guess times throughout the year, we did have like a captain's run at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning. But then when you have that 3-hour time difference and daylight savings, that's a significant, getting up at 4:30 for breakfast, which is not ideal. So we've pushed it back. We've got a 1 o'clock captain's run at Icon Park in the afternoon, and then head back to the hotel, freshen up, have some dinner together as a team, and then a really good night's sleep, and then we'll be on the bus to head to Icon Park the following day.
And you reckon you've got your travel routine down pat now?
It's always evolving. It's always changing. Like, it's some good conversations that happen with our players and our leadership group and our staff, and you add new staff into your program and they've got innovation and ideas, and then you lean into the AFL program as well. And there's certainly, we've been discussing whether we travel 2 days out or even 1 day out if it's a later game. And that's something that we'll just continue to be flexible with when we get the fixtures, and just being really adaptable.
So you played Leederville the other day, and it's massive. Like, it's such a big ground. Icon Park, a lot smaller, much smaller distance lengthwise. So if you get it deep, you can really do some damage. And having trouble with your inside 50s compared to other teams in the last month or so is the case of just get it as deep as you can, as quick as you can, and try to force them into some mistakes.
Yeah, look, obviously we're lucky to train at MRP, a big ground as well. It's same as Optus Stadium, and then we've got the MCG next to us as well if we want to train on that when it comes to different sizes of grounds and things like that. But yeah, look, conditions are looking a little bit wet at this stage, so we'll just continue to monitor that. And then obviously if it's wet weather footy, we want to get it forward and just lock it in our forward half as much as we can. And, there's some serious talent up there in Lucia Painter and whether Ella Roberts plays forward, and Laura DeWakfa, who's having a breakout season, and then also Charlotte Riggs, who's probably just so close to breaking open a game. She's just contributed so well, just competes, and is going to be a fantastic player for someone that only just turned 19 2 days ago.
Michelle, we thank you for your time and we send you off with the best wishes. Good luck.
Yeah, wonderful, guys. Hopefully you're chatting to some of our players next week and we go around again.
Unfortunately, Cod, while one season continues, one has ended. So Fremantle not quite good enough this year. Beaten by Adelaide 4-5-29 to 2-5-17 at Norwood Oval. Really difficult ground to play that. Very narrow ground. Didn't quite adapt at the weekend. Still some great performances. Mim Strong in the ruck, 7 inside 50s to her. Gabby Newton, Hayley Miller, Ashling McCarthy and Emma O'Driscoll all shunned for the Dockers. But they just didn't quite get there this year.
That game summed up this season, really. When the big moments arrived, they weren't able to step up to the plate. So no score in the last quarter when their season demanded that they win that last quarter to win the game. And they had plenty of opportunities down there and just couldn't find a way to score. I think it summed them up 6-6 for the year. Percentage of 80.9 shows that they weren't good enough. A 70-point loss to Brisbane, a 100-point loss to North Melbourne. Like, there was a gap between them and the rest.
They had a pretty tough draw, so they're not too far off.
They're not too far off in some ways, but when you're 70 points off Brisbane and 100 points off North Melbourne at the start of the year, and they battled in those games to get the ball back or to not turn the ball over. So the skill of the elite teams in the competition seems to be a long way ahead of them. They're a hard team. They're a tough team. They win contested ball. They tackle really well. But if it gets out in the open, they've got to fix that. They need some players who can really use it well to allow them to get some easy possession, because everything's hard-earned.
Which is where the game has evolved to now.
Absolutely it has.
So you need to really address that.
The skill in women's football has increased dramatically with the elite players. So you've got to be able to get elite draftees through who are going to be able to run and carry that ball and get you that extra distance, because if you don't get it in deep, you're in all sorts of bother. So you've got to be able to move the ball well, get it into your forwards and give them a chance as deep as possible, because if you're getting it 40 out all the time, it's really hard to kick goals. You need to get it within 25. And you've got to be able to hold onto the ball as much as possible rather than constantly having to fight to get that territory. Oh, this is not good news, Quarters. This is just lobbed. I wish we had been able to put this to Michelle Cowan earlier. Mikayla Western is out. We already knew she was out with a knee injury, but she's ruptured her ACL. She's done big time. That's a horrible.
That's sad news for Mikayla and sad news for West Coast. A really good player, really crafty forward. So they'll miss her. I didn't think we expected her to play this year, but I think we were all hoping that it was not a serious knee injury and she'd be right for the next pre-season.
Yeah, and that's bad news. That's the concern. Like, she not only misses the first final that the club plays, but she's going to miss next year as well. Like, it's a 12-month injury. It's almost a worse injury for the AFLW players than it is for the men, because you're no chance of getting back with the short season,
yes,
whereas the blokes have some slight chance of getting in. It's a genuine year. So, there's just so many knee injuries in women's
The only thing
sport.
I'll say to Mikayla is there have been some recent examples of players coming back from ACLs and they've done really well. So just, it's plenty of footy left in her, I'm sure.
Yes, they'll be well and truly wanting to do it for her this weekend and bring a smile to her face, because that's a horrible injury at a horrible time of year.
So a little bit of a segue to some other footy news, Cotton. Well, not really footy news. It's marathon news. So one of my favourites, and I'm sure one of your favourites, Buddy Franklin, made his marathon debut at the weekend. So Sunday night I was watching the New York City Marathon, something close to my heart. I ran it in 2010. And Buddy did look, I'll let you read out the splits, but he did himself proud. It was an amazing marathon debut.
Yeah, so his marathon debut, he's run in 3:49.02. He'll be gutted, I reckon, he didn't get a 3:48. You know how everyone, when it gets close to the end and you go, I want to get under that minute sort of moment. So 3:49.02. So first 10K in 46.46, second 10K in 48 minutes, third 10K in 55, and then the fourth in 66. In the last 2K, he did in 12 minutes 30. So he was hoping, in the interview that you did with him, which was great, that he would get through the first 30 Ks in 4.5 minute Ks. He did it in 5 minute Ks. So I reckon at 198 centimetres, he was going, this is bloody hard. Like, it's an amazing effort for someone that tall to run.
He's a sprinter, not a stayer.
Yeah,
so he's done an amazing job. And when I spoke to him, when he told me he's going to do the 4:30, first 30, and then I've not run it. He hadn't run over 30K. So the longest he'd run was in this Alice Springs trial, which was 30K. He said, I'll probably blow up. And I said, no, buddy, you will blow up. You won't probably, because it happens to us all. But that's still a really good run. I mean, he's got 8 seconds on me in my PB, and I've done a few. So he's a bit younger, but that's a really good run. And New York, people look at it and think it's flat. It's deceptively hilly. There's a lot of river crossings, and every time you cross a river, you're going uphill for a sustained period. I was really surprised. And First Avenue is just an insidious long climb uphill, and it's about the 16-mile mark or the 26K mark. So it's really tough going up there. But I'd love to hear his recollections on it, because it's an amazing event.
Talk us through. I mean, everyone who's sitting at home now would go, we've heard of how hard it is to get into the marathon. We've seen how scenic it is and how amazing it is. How do you qualify or purchase your way in?
Yeah, so
you've done it.
There's two ways. You can qualify through a time, or you can go through a ballot, which is really hard, or you can go through a charity. So, for example, I ran the New York Marathon in 2010. I had to raise $5,000. I was running for the Little Heroes Foundation, which is an Adelaide-based charity for kids who are unwell. So that's how I got in. So if you can, it's a good way to get in, because you're doing good, and it feels good. It feels good when you're raising money for charity. So that's how you get in. I was living in London, 2000 to 2004. So my debut was London, and I got in again. I missed the ballot every year, so I had to go, and I ran for children with leukemia in London. So the big races, the majors, as you call them, you've got to be very lucky to get on the ballot. So charity's the way to go.
My cousin, Alicia, ran in the same
Well
race
done,
on
Alicia.
the weekend. So Alicia, I was messaging her in New York, and she was staying in the same hotel as Buddy, which is quite amazing. So, yeah, Alicia loves her running. First out, she ran it in 4:55.03, similar to Buddy. Those 3 seconds will always piss you off. So first hour, she did the first 10K in an hour. Second 10K in just an hour and 9. Then the next 10K in an hour 14. Final 10K in an hour 15, and then 15 minutes for those last 2K. And she said
she did about a 4:40 or something?
4:55.03 it was, yeah.
Okay.
But
that's a great run.
It's a great run, yes. And she said she was crook as a dog, like through it, just feeling horrible all the way through. It just takes so much courage, I reckon, to train for it and then to push through when you're feeling terrible. Like, you've done a lot of them. I've never done one. And I've got mad respect for everybody who is able to just put themselves out there and run the 42K.
Because the last 10K is addictive. It's funny, because while it is extraordinarily painful at times, it is addictive. It sounds weird, doesn't it? But I don't know. There's a challenge about, you run out of lactic acid and you start sooking it up. You just feel really bad about yourself, and you just got to fight through it. And I always said, I don't know what everyone else is like. I always thought the last 10K was such a rough ride, and you get about 2 minutes after the finish line, you got the medal around your neck, I always got this wave of euphoria that, I'm not kidding you, would last me for about a month.
Well, it's funny because Leash messaged me and said, we're off to Madison Square Garden to watch Josh Giddey for the Bulls up against the Knicks, and he had a massive game. So, 5 hours of running, you're feeling like absolute crap, and then you get that euphoria because you've achieved something that you've worked so hard to do. And then, she's at one of my favourite places on earth, Madison Square Garden.
Oh, it is. I've been there. I got there when we ran the marathon. Well done too, I should mention. So Lance Franklin also ran with Jonathan Thurston, rugby league great. They were running as part of the Indigenous Marathon Foundation project. So that's the organisation Robert De Castella, one of our great marathoners, established about 16 years ago now. And his idea is he thinks that there's some Indigenous marathon greats out there who are just untapped. So that's I think they ran with 12 others, and those two are the ambassadors. So well done to them, and well done just to finishing the New York City Marathon.
Yeah,
It's
massive,
great.
massive
So from
effort.
one gun, another is returning this week on COD. And we're going to go away from footy at the moment into basketball.
Yes,
Your
Bryce
first love.
Cotton will play against the Perth Wildcats for the first time. It will not be in Perth. We have to wait another month or so until that happens, but it will be in South Australia, and we get the big moment where it's Bryce Cotton coming up against the Wildcats. There's that tension hanging in the air about the relationship between the two. Some people think it's real. Some people think it's not. I know this much. He will be as motivated as all get out to prove that they should have just allowed him to take his time, make a decision, and perhaps still be at the club here. But, yeah, you just get the feeling that Bryce is going to come out and absolutely put on a show.
Did the NBL miss a trick here in not scheduling this maybe round one or at least the first match, the first game in Perth?
I think the timing of it is pretty good. Like, I wouldn't have liked it in September when you're coming up against AFL finals. I think the late October, early November time of year, other than the Melbourne Cup, there's not a lot really going on. So it's before the Ashes, it's before the AFL draft, it's after the AFL trade period. So it is an opportunity. I think I would have loved for the Wildcats to have come in here today and done an interview. Like, we offered them the chance for Mark Arena and Danny Mills to come on the show and talk about Bryce and talking about how it happened, just like we had Michelle Cowan on before for talking about West Coast, and they declined. So I'd like them to tell their side of the story a bit more freely and in a bit more detail, like Bryce did when he went on his own podcast. But the NBL will be loving this weekend. Like, they will be so excited about what happens, and all of the eyeballs will be on it. And the big question will be, who will play on it? Because no one can stop the man. So who do you turn to? And I was thinking, are they going to do something different and chuck Dylan Windler on him? Because they chucked Dylan Windler on James Bateman last year, 2 weeks after he scored 51 points against them. And he's a tall bloke, 198 centimetres, got that extra reach. Is he the guy? Or is it the new import who loves to defend and is 193 centimetres and will have some height on Bryce as well? Or do they play Sunday Desh on him, who's done that so many times but hasn't had much of a season so far because of injury? Or go to a younger player like Ben Henschel to look after it? A question about who they put on him will be really, really fascinating.
So 2 questions. How has he elevated the Adelaide 36ers? Because clearly he has. And where are this Wildcats team at right at the moment? There's a replacement import now who's embedded now. What do you think he'll bring? Is it a good pick? Is it a good selection?
So in terms of what he's done to the 36ers, he's made them sexy. And that's what you want. You want to when you bring a player in like Bryce, you automatically bring in eyeballs, and they sell out the stadium and everyone wants to watch them. And if you're not a fan of the 36ers, but you focus on one of the teams in the NBL, you'll always keep an eye on what they're doing, because you're like, how many's Bryce scored? And if he scores a truckload, it's like, oh, Bryce has scored 50 again. And if he's held like he was a couple of weeks ago, it's like, oh, someone held Bryce. But you've always got an eye on it. And on the weekend, it was like, oh, they got into a close contest, and it was like, if they get down, you know the ball's going into Bryce's hands. Can he win it for them like he did so many times for the Wildcats? So everything about the man is just fascinating. You just watch him play with amazement the entire time. Where are the Wildcats at? They don't really know themselves yet, I don't reckon. They've played some good games. They've played some poor games. They've struggled to close out games at the moment, and Bryce's job was always to close out the games and be their match winner. Without him there, they haven't been able to find out who to have the ball in their hands when it really, really matters. They've struggled with that part of it. We'll know more about them after this weekend and after they play Melbourne United, who are dominating the competition. So once they play those couple of teams, we'll see where they genuinely sit in the comp, because at the moment, it's still a bit of a filling out process. David Duke's played one game. It's hard to really know where he fits at the moment because he's travelled all around the world for that one game. But yeah, they're in that middle of the range sort of feeling at the moment where they'll either spike or they'll drop away, and it's an important month for them.
You have been listening to The West Sports Show. Remember, you can watch or listen to this podcast on YouTube Music. Cot, thanks for your time. It's been a fascinating show.
We'll be back next week.
We will.